welcome back to SurelecTV. So first of all, I just want to apologise for the lack of content the past couple of weeks, or 2-3 weeks. Obviously you've probably been aware I haven't posted anything at all. I've literally just been snowed under with work. I've been tendering quite a large job the past couple of weeks, so I've been trying to get that sorted and spot on, so that's been taking up a lot of my evening time. And obviously, as I've mentioned before, these videos do take up a little bit of time, a bit too much time on site sometimes, so I haven't had the time to do that, and obviously the editing as well takes up quite a bit of time, but enough of that sub story. So today I'm on my way to investigate a fault at a community centre. It did actually used to be a sports centre, so I thought I'd give you a little insight into a bit of fault finding today. Now the fault is, well, basically I've already been to site. I went about a month ago, but that was to install a few hand dryers. While I was on site, the guy in charge pointed out a socket that's within a restroom that's got no power whatsoever. Lo and behold, I took the front off and there's absolutely nothing there. So I didn't have any time that day to investigate, so obviously I've put them in today and hopefully we're going to get it sorted. Now this socket in the restroom, I believe, is possibly on its own radial. After this socket is an outside socket as well, which is one of the reasons they want to get it sorted, because they use this outside socket for a lot of their event stuff, so they're pretty keen to get it back functioning. Now I had a quick look at the fuse board setup and the distribution box, but it's quite a mess, and like I said, I didn't really have time to investigate too much, so that'll probably be my first port of call. So yeah, I'm just going to run you through the fault finding. I have probably got to go in the loft and trace the cable out a bit. That's not ideal because it's meant to get up to about 33 degrees today, so I'm not looking forward too much to that bit, but needs must. So yeah, I'll run you through it all and we'll see how we get on. So I'll speak to you when we're on site, basically. See you in a bit. Inside the community centre, I'm just going to show you exactly where I'm going to be working, where the fault's at. Well, not the fault, but the socket in question is at. So inside this little room here, which is like the restroom, there's our culprit down there. Now it looks like there's 3 cables in there, so I'm not too sure whether it's a radial yet or a ring, or yeah, not sure if it's a radial or ring, but we've also got the spur that I mentioned off that for the outside socket. As you can see, it's not particularly great anyway, it's just a little bit of conduit, mini trunk in there, which goes up behind here as well, and that's just got one of the cables exposed within that. So first things first, what I'm probably going to do is do an R1 R2 test, where I'm going to join my live and earth there, and I'm going to go back to this distribution board and the consumer units and test which circuit I'm actually working on. Now I've come across this board here, this little board, which has got 2 breakers down. Now if you turn both of them on, it trips the RCD, so I'm suspecting it's one of them 2 circuits. Now by joining my live and earth at the far end socket, I should be able to test which one of these sockets is the culprit. Obviously that depends on the conductors being continuous, and I do actually get a reading there, but that's going to be my first test just to make sure I start working on the right circuit, basically. Subject of this distribution board and bits around there, just wanted to show you it's not particularly in the best condition. There's quite a bit going on in here which needs to be sorted really. I have suggested a E.I.C.R, but with this being a community centre, it's kind of a charity run thing, so they have to find funding for it. But yeah, I have advised on getting that done. So yeah, we've got kind of the main distribution board there. It's got the sockets on, a few of the sub mains. Obviously our main incomer, 3-phase. We've got a couple of little consumer units there. Consumer unit up there that we're hopefully going to be working on, and that's about it really. So it's a fairly large place, not massive, but big enough. So yeah, let's start trying to find this one. as mentioned, what I'm going to do is put in one of my R1 R2 plugs. So this has basically just got the live and earth linked out in there. That just saves me taking out all the gubbins and swapping conductors over. So I'm going to plug that in, but first off, you do obviously want to make sure that this circuit is 100% dead. So live to earth, 6.81 volts. Live to neutrals tucked down there. Again 6.81 volts. So that is dead. So what I'll do is plug in my R1 R2 adapter, turn that on, take my little multimeter, and we're going to go to that small consumer unit and just check we are working on the correct circuit. Like I say, they're the only two breakers I can see off, so I suspect them to be the actual problem. But the reason for the R1 R2 is just to check which circuit I am actually working on. My board, the board that I think's got the circuits on. So what I'm going to do first is just make sure my leads do actually work. 0.1 ohms resistance, so they're all good. First circuit I'm going to try live to earth, and we get 1.4 mega ohms. Next circuit to earth, 3.8 mega ohms. So either there's a break in my live conductor or they're not actually the circuits, so more investigation required. So I literally can't see any more circuits that are off, so it has got to be one of them two circuits. But what I'm actually going to do is, while the weather's still relatively, well, it's not boiling hot yet, so I'm going to jump in the loft and try and trace the actual circuit out. I suspect there's a fault somewhere along the lines, obviously, so hopefully I can physically see it. So yeah, I'm now going to jump up into this little loft space. So the loft space is inside the ladies' toilets. There's the hatch, and the wall we were working on with the socket is that wall over there. So I can literally get above there. I've got my little lead light up here. I've had this for ages now, little LED screw fix one. I think it was about 25 quid. Bit of a lifesaver really. I have got the battery version as well. Both really good and do come in handy. So I'm now going to get up in here, sweat it out, and try and find this fault. I've spoken to the customer here, and apparently that board that I'm concerned with, or I think I'm going to be concerned with, only does the shower. So the other two breakers have been turned off for God knows how long apparently, because basically if we go through, that's the toilet one working in the loft, this whole area is kind of new, so that all got ripped out, but they haven't isolated the cables in the loft, I shouldn't imagine, hence the tripping of the RCD. So obviously not good. So it's potential that them two circuits that are off aren't anything to do with us actually, but because they're still connected at the top, I'm actually just going to completely disconnect them in there. So if they were to ever magically clear themselves, they won't be connected. So yeah, I'm just going to disconnect those, so they're theoretically safe. And as you can see, the 32 amp one is the shower one, which is on. So yeah, more investigation. While I'm here and I've got that cover off, spoken to the customer, so I've just taken them two live conductors, well, three because there's two in the last one, out of their circuit breakers and labelled them up just to say they're faulty, what they were labelled on here. So if anyone ever opens that up again or tries investigating something, then they'll know what it is. But yeah, I'm not going to sort them out today because obviously the customer doesn't care about those. They're isolated now, so yeah, no more needs to be done with that really. So going to get that cover back on and then carry on with the fault finding. Actually none the wiser what circuit I'm still working on as yet, so I'm now back at the socket. I'm going to do some end-to-ends on there just to see whether I'm working on a ring circuit or radial. Obviously if there is a broken conductor, it's not going to show up as a ring anyway, but it's just another test to get out of the way really. Try to do some end-to-end on this socket now. So obviously I've already isolated That's our spur cable, so we're not too fussed about that. Now, meter, same again, we want to check that the meter is functioning, so I'm just going to put my two probes together and see what resistance I get. So 0.1 again, that's all working. Right, so live end to end I get absolutely nothing, 3.3 meg, so it's not looking likely at the moment. So I'll put them back. I won't bother putting them back actually, we'll just take the whole socket off. Let's try neutrals. Absolutely nothing again. Earths. Absolutely nothing again. So that is telling me at the moment that is a radial circuit. So I highly doubt all the conductors are broken. It's possible, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a radial circuit. So time to do some hunting on the circuits and see what kind of a plastic or paper disposable boiler suit thing on to go up in a loft. Because it's so hot today, I'm not going to bother, and I can't be bothered to put it on. So yeah, but as always, mask will go on because these lofts are horrible and we don't want any fiberglass down the old throat. As many of you are aware, it's not very nice at all. So mask on and start investigating. This is not the biggest of lofts, but nothing we can do about that. And decided to put the forensic suit on, if you like, because this is that horrible insulation stuff and it's going to make me itch like hell, and I can't be asked for that today. So yeah, boiler suit's on, got my gloves on as well, mask's going to go on, and let's find this fault. I'll show you what I found. Hopefully you can hear me alright with this mask on. So in the corner over here, ouch, in the corner over here, just down there, is where my two cables drop down to that socket that I've shown you. Now I've traced one of them, and where am I? Yeah, so one goes that way, that goes on to the next one, and then this one here I've traced all the way along here, through this lot of cables here, and bear with me, bring some light around here. So this is my cable here, pulled that there and you can see that move, so, and almost instantly I come up to this junction box. Now a lot of people don't like these pens, but this is where they do come in handy. So what I done was turn this on, that's my dead cable to the socket that I'm getting no power on, so that's not showing up as live at all. If I go to one of these cables, they're obviously live, so somewhere in this junction box there's a problem with this cable, so I suspect there's a loose connection. So what I'm going to do is, here, I'm going to unzip my CSI suit, get my flathead out, and we're going to have a butcher's inside here, being very careful because obviously it is live. See what we find. And there you go. Here's our fault. It looks like a lot of burnt out cables. Now what I'm going to do is try and find this circuit and find out what our problem is. Find out where these two legs go, because there's obviously got to be a reason why that's burnt out, either a loose connection or too much load. But yeah, we'll find out and go see. So I'm going to put the cover on and go and do some more investigation at the fuse board. So I've been up and down in the loft tracing out what circuit this junction box is on, and it's in this old rewirable fuse distribution box, and I found it to be the where am I? Lost where I am now. Changing room sockets. So, and it's got the kitchen sockets on there as well. So I've had a look round and there's nothing that shows to me it's overloaded or anything. There's a socket down the end here, just down there, and the rest of the sockets are actually in the kitchen, which apparently doesn't get used at all. And all that's in there is a couple of microwaves. So you've got a couple of microwaves, socket, kettle. That's just for the extract. Socket there. That's not actually plugged in, so I don't think there's any chance of the overheating on the cables being caused to overloading of the circuit. So I think it's just a case of a loose connection. So I'm going to get that connected back up. Once I've connected it, I'm going to give it a test just to make sure the circuit is healthy. And then obviously I'm going to, because there's an outside socket on this circuit and there's no RCD protection on this board, I'm actually going to go away and get an RCD external socket just to put on this wall out here. So there's the existing one. That one's a bit smashed up anyhow, so I'll just change that for an RCD socket and that'll cover us, because nothing inside really determines needing a RCD protection. So yeah, I'm going to get that sorted, get connections made in the loft and test it, change the socket, and then we're done. I've made sure my junction box circuit is now dead. The 20 amp circuit is now dead. I've tucked the fuse away so no one can touch it. Safe isolation's been done, prove that's dead. So what I'm going to do is just mount this J803, I think this one is. Yeah, maintenance free junction box. I'm just going to screw it to one of these joists, keep it fixed, and then all I'm going to do is remake these cables off, just so they're soundly connected, nice and tight, and then test the circuit, and then we'll go from there. Junction box is all done. That's all sorted. The old one's all disconnected, and I'm going to show the customer that. It's always good to show customers what you find. Just helps prove what you've done, really. So yeah, that's the new maintenance free junction box. I'm going to shut this cover and just label that up with what circuit it is and what it's feeding. And then that is me done up in this loft, thankfully, because it's getting very hot now. So yeah, gonna go down, test the circuit, put the socket front back on the socket that I took off, go and grab a socket for the outside, get that sorted, and then we're done. Everything's back together now, that socket's back together. Obviously I've done the junction box in the ceiling, that's all sorted. I've been away and got a screw fixer as the closest place. I've just got a British General RCD socket, plenty good enough for here. So I'm going to replace the existing external socket with this one. Obviously on a new install, this circuit would be RCD protected because it's only a 20 amp circuit, but obviously this circuit complies with the regs at the time it was installed, apart from the external socket. So once I've done this, we're good to go. And when I've done this, I'm just going to do an installation resistance reading on the circuit and get SLS reading, and then we're done. We're sorted here now. I've got my RCD socket on. Everything's back on. Like I said, I tested the circuit. I've done an installation resistance test. So yeah, installation resistance, and I've got SLS on the circuit just to make sure everything is hunky-dory with the circuit. So yeah, that's about it really. Little bit of fault finding for you. I'm sorry there wasn't too much kind of testing or anything like that involved, but it was a little bit simpler than I thought in the end. Just as well I found that junction box because I was a bit burnt out, so yeah, hopefully we shouldn't get that problem again. Again, sorry for not posting too much content lately. I'll try a bit harder to get some more out for you, but until then, make sure you like this video, give us a comment, subscribe to the channel, and if you really want to, you can subscribe to my Facebook page, which is SurelecTV Electrical Limited, where I post most of my electrical work as much as possible really. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and hopefully see you on the next video. See you later guys.